Man, this week in tech was a wild ride. The digital world felt, well, a little fragile. We saw a huge chunk of the internet just go dark, and some of the biggest companies sprang some pretty massive leaks. So let's break down exactly what happened, and more importantly, what it means for you. Just imagine this for a second. You wake up, and one-third of the entire internet has just vanished. Your favorite apps, the websites you rely on for work, for everything, poof, gone. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, the thing is, it wasn't hypothetical. It actually happened last week, and it really exposed some scary truths about the very foundations of our digital lives. So first up, let's dig into this fragile foundation and see just how quickly it can all come crashing down. So it all came down to one company, Cloudflare. A single tiny error in a configuration file was all it took to knock out a third of the internet. We're talking major services like Twitter and ChatGPT just offline for over 3 hours. And even when they came back, they were super unstable. It's just this stark reminder of how centralized the web has become, with so many of us relying on just a handful of companies for everything to work. And it's not just our access that's fragile, it's our data too. Researchers found this absolutely massive loophole in WhatsApp. All they had to do was enter phone numbers and they could request user info. And because there were no limits on these requests, they just scraped the data of 3.5 billion users. That's billion with a B. Over 3.5 months, they collected names, numbers, and profile pictures. But wait, the hits kept coming. Logitech, the company that makes countless mice and keyboards, they got hacked. 1.8 terabytes of data were stolen. And this wasn't just names and emails. This was telemetry data. What does that mean? It means detailed logs of your device usage. Every single click, every mouse movement, the very data you agree to share when you just click accept on the terms and conditions. Okay, let's shift gears now from the digital to the physical and talk about hardware. There's a major price squeeze coming, and believe me, it's going to affect all of us. So what we're looking at here is just some basic economics in action. Demand for computer memory and storage, RAM and SSDs, is absolutely soaring. You can see that high demand bar. But now look at the production bar. Manufacturers are not increasing supply to meet it. High demand, low supply, you know what that means. Prices are going up. And don't expect this to be some short-term blip either. Prices are expected to keep rising until at least 2026. The takeaway here is crystal clear. If you're thinking about upgrading, you should probably do it now. A better deal isn't coming anytime soon. Now, a huge reason for all this demand is the unbelievable amount of data needed for AI. I mean, check this out. Seagate just revealed a server that can hold 3.2 petabytes of data. To put that into perspective, that's over 3,000 terabytes in one single box, all thanks to new 40 terabyte hard drives. This is the kind of heavy-duty hardware that literally powers the cloud. Meanwhile, in the world of processors, the endless battle between Intel and AMD rages on. Leaks suggest Intel's next CPUs are coming soon, but their 2026 Arrow Lake chips? Yeah, you might need a whole new motherboard for those. On the other side, AMD is cooking up new laptop chips with seriously powerful integrated graphics, which could mean no more need for a separate video card in your laptop. And of course, these hardware battles are at their absolute fiercest in the smartphone arena, which brings us right to our third section. Even with all the restrictions they're facing, Huawei is just pushing right ahead. Their new Mate 80 is going to support MagSafe accessories, and yeah, they're even adopting Apple's Pro Max name. But where they're really innovating is in materials, teasing an ultra-durable new phone and a foldable that features their own in-house super strong glass. Okay, now this next one is a huge surprise. In a move nobody saw coming, Google is actually breaking down the walls between its world and Apple's. For years, sharing files between an Android and an iPhone has been a total headache, right? Well, on new Pixel phones, the Quick Share feature can now send files directly to an iPhone using AirDrop. This apparently caught Apple completely off guard. And the rest of the smartphone market is definitely not sitting still. Samsung's 2026 roadmap shows they're sticking with their popular phone lines. Motorola is bringing a stylus to its more affordable mid-range phones. OnePlus and Oppo are rumored to be developing smaller phones with absolutely massive batteries. And Nothing just dropped a major software update with some cool new multitasking features. This week's news also gave us some really cool glimpses into the future of tech. And honestly, some of it is a lot closer than you might think.
So, if smartphones are the current battlefield, the next major tech war is going to be fought over smart glasses. It's now confirmed that both Apple and Samsung are developing their own competitors to Meta's glasses, and each one is aiming to lock you into their ecosystem right before your very eyes.
A quiet revolution is also brewing in the world of 3D printing. Bamboo Lab has this new printer that can automatically change nozzles, which is cool, but it's limited to one size per print. Pruse's new system, on the other hand, uses 8 separate print heads. This lets you mix different materials and nozzle sizes in a single job. So you could print a complex object with a strong body and supports that just dissolve away. That is a major leap forward for this technology. Get ready because your web browser is about to get a whole lot smarter. AI-native browsers like Perplexity's Comment can understand complex commands. So instead of just searching for red phone cases, you could say something like, find me the cheapest red phone case for my specific phone, add it to my cart, and buy it. The browser will just handle the whole thing for you. It's going to be a game changer. And for our final story, we're going to explore a pretty significant policy change that really highlights a growing trend, the shifting of responsibility from tech companies directly onto us, the users.
Now, to understand this, we need to quickly talk about something called geofencing. All it really is a virtual fence. For a drone maker like DJI, this meant using GPS to create no-fly zones around sensitive places like airports.
Okay, so here's the huge change. Previously, if you tried to fly a DJI drone near an airport, the software would physically stop it from taking off. The responsibility was on DJI. But now, because of a court ruling, the software will only show you a warning. The pilot can choose to just ignore it and fly anyway, which shifts all the legal risk from the company directly to the user. And this brings us to a really crucial question. As more and more companies start shifting the risk, everything from data breaches to legal liability, onto their users, are we actually prepared to take on that responsibility? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.